Welcome to Voices of Healing and Justice. I'm Dr. McNeil. Today we're going to talk about the cost of being the strong one. Are you the person that everyone calls when they fall apart? When you are the person that can fix everything in your family? You always show up when someone needs you, and then you recognize that when you need something, there's rarely anyone there. Today, we're going to talk about what is the hidden emotional, mental, and even the physical cost of always being there, being the strong one that everyone can depend on. So let's get into it. Who is the strong one? Let's first define it. The strong one could be the family fixer. The strong one can be the dependable friend. The strong one can be the leader at work. The strong one can be the caregiver. The strong one can be the oldest sibling. The strong one can also be a ministry or a community leader. Are you the person in the community that when something is happening, everyone comes to you? Are you that ministry that everyone falls on that ministry? Are you the parent who carries everything? Then you are considered one of the strong ones. And so today we're going to talk about what's the cost of being the strong one. So let's get into this. Being strong, that's not always the problem. The problem comes in is when you're the only strong person. Some of us don't like being that person that falls apart, that needy person. Some of us don't take pride in being that person. If that's not you and you take pride in being strong, the problem is that you're always strong and you're always the fixer, and no one is there to help you when you need help. What's the cost of never processing your own grief? What's the cost of constantly having to emotionally labor with other people? What's the cost of emotional labor in your family? One of the costs that many people find is loneliness. That as you're working through all of these problems for your family, for friends, as the leader of your department or your for your company, is that it's very lonely. No one ever asks you, how are you doing today? No one ever asks that. And so it can be lonely. Number two, it can be an identity loss. You could feel like I lost my identity. I'm always fixing the problem for someone else or for others. Three, you can be burned out. Not only physically burned out, but you could have emotional fatigue. You could be emotionally just burnt out. I can't take any more. You could have difficulty sleeping. You could be irritable. Everybody got a problem. Every single person. You could be irritable. You could find you're feeling emotionally numb. You could show up to that problem like, okay. You could be numb. So that's number three. You could be burnt out. So if you find yourself feeling emotionally exhausted, loneliness, you could have an identity loss. You don't know who you are without fixing someone else's problem. And four, you could have burnout. Then if you find yourself in that position, then you find yourself being the strong one. So now let's talk about, why do people become the strong one? What makes someone become the strong one who endures it all for everyone? One could be childhood responsibility. You were the child that fixed everything for everybody in the house. Two could be trauma has made you the strong one. You survived a trauma and now everybody sees, oh, well, she survived that. Call her up. He survived that. Call him up. It could also be parentification, where a child is parentified. A child is given much more responsibility than their age. It could be a cultural expectations. In my own culture, in the Black American culture, in Black South African culture, in the colored culture, in the Indian culture, in our white South African culture, many women are taught to be strong. You can be strong. Nothing can tear you down. It could be cultural. It could also be a faith misunderstanding. What doesn't kill you makes you strong. I know we talk about that in the Black American culture. That what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Not really, but we do say that. The fear of disappointing others. Do you have a fear of disappointing others so you show up no matter the cost? And last, survival mode. You become the strong one simply to survive. We find that a lot in foster care. I am a former foster child, and we find a lot of coping mechanisms with foster children, just enduring it all just to survive. So if that is you, that's how you become the strong one and get identified as the strong one in your peer group or in your family or with your coworkers. How can we help you cope? What are some of the ways that we could help you avoid identity loss, burnout, irritability? How can we help you avoid some of those things? First is asking for help. If you need help, just ask for it. Number two is set boundaries. You can't take on everything, and everyone doesn't have the right to bring you everything at any time. Number three, have the saying, I don't have the capacity today. That's a great way to set a boundary. I don't have the capacity today. I don't have the capacity at this time. Crying. You have the right to cry. Many strong people, or if you are the strong one, you feel as if you don't have the right to cry, but you have the right to cry. You have the right to have any emotional response that any person would have. Rest without feeling guilt. If you don't have the capacity, if you can't solve it, just rest and don't feel guilty. And last but not least, is allow others to support you. And that is the way that you can avoid all of those things that we talked about. Now, finally, what are some practical steps? If you're the strong one and you're enduring all of this, what are some practical steps that we could do to help you heal? Number one is to ask yourself daily, how am I feeling? What do I need? Number two is to stop the automatic responses. I'm fine. It's okay. Stop your automatic responses. Take time to hear what the person is saying. And when they ask you how you're doing, don't automatically say fine. Say, today I'm troubled. Today I'm hungry. Today I'm sleepy. State how you feel. Number three, build your support network. You may be the strong one for everyone else, but take time to build your support network. I have a person in my life that I call her the vault. I say, hey, I'm calling you. I just want to place this in the vault. Do you have a vault? Do you have someone that you can lean on for support? If you don't, I encourage you to make your support system. Number four, create healthy boundaries. No is a complete answer. Some of us have a hard time understanding that. And we're going to talk about it in depth during our next video. That no is a complete answer. And finally, schedule rest. I'm going to use me as an example. On Sundays, I rest. I read. There's nothing you can do to take me from reading on Sunday. Unless the house is on fire, the kids are on fire, I'm going to read every Sunday. Schedule your time to rest, no matter what time that is, and allow everyone in your environment to respect your time of rest. Okay? All right. So in closing our podcast today, I'm going to ask all our listeners to answer these three questions as we close out this podcast today. What burden have you been carrying all by yourself? Who do you trust enough to share the truth with? Who's that person you can put it in the vault? Okay? What would change if you believe you didn't have to earn love by being strong? That's our challenge today. We're asking all our listeners to ask those questions of yourself. Answer it honestly. What's our takeaway from this podcast? I'd love for you to take away three things. One, you were never created to carry every heavy burden by yourself. Number two, strength without support eventually becomes suffering. And three, healing begins the moment you give yourself permission to fully be human and not just dependable. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Thank you for joining me on Voices of Healing and Justice. My name is Dr. McNeil. See you next week.